welcome to MISD Assessment's video-based training on test security and accommodations for 2018. This video is presented by the Mansfield ISD Department of Research, Assessment, and Accountability and is designed for campus principals in the MISD, by which they can initiate their state-mandated training for the 2018 calendar year. This video will last approximately 20 minutes and will cover the items listed on screen. Changes for 2018 are fairly minimal, focusing primarily on testing accommodations, as well as an adjustment to testing dates. The most prominent assessment coordinated by TEA in 2018, now in its 7th year, is the State of Texas Assessments of Academic Readiness, better known as STAR. Additionally, TEA will oversee the administration of the TELPAS and STAR Alternate 2 tests statewide. However, this video will spend a minimal amount of time addressing topics related to those assessments. Also, for the 3rd year, Pearson will manage the delivery of TELPAS and STAR Alternate 2, while ETS will manage the delivery of STAR. As mentioned earlier, changes for 2018 are fairly minimal. The most noticeable changes pertain to STAR Online, where supports for content and language and vocabulary have been combined into a single designated support, and an online embedded option has been added for spelling assistance. Additionally, TEA has relaxed or removed restrictions on other supports, the details of which will be discussed later. Perhaps the most welcome change pertains to the testing dates for the first round of STAR, which impacts the grades and subjects shown. This testing window has been moved 2 weeks later under TEA's testing calendar for 2018. Now let's move on to test security. The primary reference for test security and procedures remains the District and Campus Coordinator Manual, the 2018 edition of whose cover pages you see here. It includes general security procedures along with details on STAR, STAR Alternate 2, and TELPAS. The DCCM is available electronically at the URL listed at the bottom of the screen, and hard copies will be delivered to campuses in January. TEA will also soon release the 2018 Test Security Supplement, which will offer additional guidance and recommendations for districts and campuses. Regarding test security, it's always useful to recall the fundamental concerns and core areas surrounding it. TEA requires security of test materials for the same basic reason a teacher protects his or her own testing content, to protect the integrity of the system and process. Additionally, TEA requires school officials to maintain protocols of confidentiality, both of test content and student results, to maintain their validity. It's no different from a teacher seeking to prevent cheating because students who have access to test content or answers are not truly assessed on their academic learning, and the process is thereby undermined. Students also have a right to privacy regarding their academic performance. This is why student data, in addition to test materials and content, must be handled with security protocols in place. Before we address test security as it pertains to STAR, it's important to address additional security measures instituted by TEA with respect to TELPAS. Because TELPAS requires teachers to assign objective ratings as they assess the English proficiency of ELL students, teachers must complete calibration activities to demonstrate their own competency with the state's English language proficiency standards and their corresponding TELPAS performance level descriptors. So, to maintain the integrity of that system, TEA offers requirements regarding TELPAS teacher calibration, including independent completion of training and calibration and confidentiality of teacher performance. Moving on to security issues pertaining more closely to STAR testing. Campuses must implement procedures prior to testing to ensure proper test security. Each campus should maintain a specific secure area, with access limited only to a few individuals for the storage of test materials. Anything accessible with a master key or multiple room keys is insufficient. The secure storage area must be available only to a handful of individuals. Campuses should also confirm that all documentation regarding individual student accommodations and supports is current and accurate. Teachers and staff must be trained each calendar year on their own responsibilities related to the handling of test materials and administration of testing. And each staff member who may be involved in testing must sign the Oath of Confidentiality, acknowledging he or she understands and accepts responsibility for his or her role. Campuses must also address their own logistics for testing, including preparing required documentation, ensuring each space used for testing is appropriately configured to minimize student distractions and eliminate unfair advantages, and planning for emergency situations, such as fire alarms and/or power outages. While students are actually testing, it is the responsibility of the adult serving as test administrator to complete required documentation, including the seating chart, to verify student data on answer documents is complete, and to maintain TEA-mandated timing correctly. Timing restrictions are the same as in 2017. Students are allotted 4 hours for all STAR tests, except for the English 1 and English 2 EOC, which allow 5 hours for testing. Most importantly, every test administrator is responsible for actively monitoring the activity in the room. Yes, watching students take a test is boring at every grade level, but active monitoring is still the best preventive measure for a variety of potential problems, from issues like student cheating to unintentional activities like a student who cannot stay focused and needs reminders to keep testing. There still remains a clear inverse relationship between active monitoring and testing incidents. STAR tests are available again in both paper and online formats, and each format has a unique set of concerns that impact test security. For paper testing, each campus must use materials control forms, track test book numbers and form numbers, properly deliver student accommodations and supports, accurately code answer documents, and ensure that it accounts for and returns every test book that was delivered. For online testing, each campus must ensure that the ETS secure browser is installed and used on every computer on which a student tests, manage student test tickets with access codes to test content, ensure that embedded online supports are accurately delivered, and address any technical problems encountered by students. As for TEA's rules concerning the confidentiality of test content, it is imperative for campus staff to understand that test content is intended for students' eyes only, and answers are to be completed by students only. Furthermore, students are required to avoid discussing test content or taking notes over the content they see on STAR. And certainly no teacher should ever look inside a test book or even ask students about the content of the STAR test. In some specific situations, TEA does allow photocopying or viewing of test content by staff, but anyone authorized to do so is forbidden from sharing or revealing content. And the Oath of Confidentiality also has a separate section for test administrators who might view test content, wherein they assert that they will not reveal or discuss items on the test. This frame shows the items to keep on file after a test administration. TEA has not changed any of these requirements. The list remains the same and the time frame remains 5 years. As in years past, MISD assessment will provide a form by which each campus must document its test security procedures. Our office will ask for only one test security documentation form for calendar year 2018, unless any procedures change from a primary administration to a retest administration. Ideally, none of us will have to worry about this frame because everyone will follow procedures properly and no incidents that may be irregularities will occur. But it's not a perfect world, so we need to understand what to do if imperfection rears its ugly head. First, remember that serious irregularities involve an intentional breach of test security principles. These should never occur, but every once in a while, a staff member will make a poor choice. Most irregularities are procedural in nature, involving an unintentional mistake in one of the areas listed. Our expectation is that each campus provides thorough training and support to staff so that everyone knows what they must, should, can, and cannot do. If problems do occur, it is not the end of the world, but it is also not an issue that can be summarily dismissed. Your first step is always to contact our office as soon as you know there's a problem. We will then proceed as necessary. If a campus incident is indeed a testing irregularity and should be reported to TEA, our expectation, like TEA's, is that the campus takes steps to resolve it in the present and prevent it in the future. Now we proceed to the topic of testing accommodations. TEA continues to list accessibility features available to all students and designated supports, most of which are locally approved, with a few that require TEA approval. You'll find all the details of these features and supports at the URL listed on screen. TEA continues to emphasize overarching principles regarding accommodations on STAR. Accommodations should be routine, effective, and independent. In other words, students should use the accommodation regularly and on their own, and there should be evidence that doing so improves learning and academic performance for the student. For purposes of state assessments, TEA stipulates that nothing used as an accommodation may have internet access or photographic capability, and the agency issues the disclaimer that not every classroom accommodation will be allowable on state assessments. At the district level, Mansfield ISD continues to maintain its accommodation time guidelines for 2018. If an accommodation is removed from a student's IEP, that change can be implemented immediately on state assessments because there's no need to establish removal as routine and effective. However, MISD stipulates that any new accommodations added to an IEP require 4 weeks to meet the routine and effective guideline issued by TEA. Therefore, any change to an IEP that adds an accommodation may be implemented on state assessments 4 weeks after the ARD decision. If an administration of STAR occurs within that 4-week window, the new accommodation will not apply. Typically, this district rule has the greatest effect on the first round of STAR, which begins on April 10, 2018. Based on this rule and accounting for spring break, any new accommodations to IEPs after March 6th would not be implemented on Grade 4 and 7 writing, Grade 5 and 8 math and reading, or English 1 and 2 EOC. Other deadlines are noted on screen. As in 2017, students requiring accommodations may still take STAR paper or online with designated supports. The online format of STAR may also include any or all of the supports available embedded in the online interface. STAR Alternate 2 retains the same approach as 2017, although Pearson has further streamlined the process for entering student data online. The determination of eligibility for designated supports is handled basically the same as it was in 2017, with ARD committees, 504 committees, and LPACs making most recommendations. This year, RTI teams will also have more options than ever before. As in the past, other groups as determined by campus principal typically addresses emergency supports, such as when a student breaks an arm and needs basic transcribing. Now let's look at the actual supports themselves. This frame categorizes supports based on the determination of eligibility, and it may require a longer look to understand everything. To the upper left, you see supports that are available to students who receive special ed or 504 services or who have an RTI plan. This year, this list adds math manipulatives and supplemental aids, but eliminates others from last year. 4 of those supports listed require a disability or disorder, and 2 of those 4 may also be available to ELL students. To the lower left are 2 supports available only to special ed or 504 students. To the upper right are the 3 embedded supports available only in the online version of STAR to special ed, 504, and ELL students. You'll notice spelling assistance listed twice on this frame because it can still be offered in its traditional form and as an embedded online support. Finally, to the lower right are the 4 supports that require TEA approval, all of which have their own specific eligibility requirements. At this point, you may have noticed changes from previous years, and you may have questions based on that. Amplification and projection devices have graduated to the list of accessibility features. The calculator policy now requires calculators for grades 8 and higher on math and science, so calculation aids as a support now apply only to grades 3 through 7. Photocopying has also evolved. If photocopying is needed strictly to get a larger font size, it no longer requires TEA approval. The guidelines are now incorporated into the large print documentation. If photocopying is needed for a different reason, it is submitted for TEA approval under the category Other. Rounding out our discussion of testing accommodations are accessibility features. These features are available to any student without the need for any special population status. You'll notice amplification and projection devices now listed under assistive tools. Reading assistance on Grade 3 Math is still available to all students, provided the assistance is minimal and requested by the student. Again this year, our office recommends offering accessibility features on a case-by-case basis, as opposed to advertising their availability as a matter of course. It's important to consider the logistical concerns created by offering multiple accessibility features to large numbers of students. As always, the job of MISD assessment is to provide guidance and support to you, so feel free to contact us if you have questions. We also encourage you to make use of our informational resources on the web, including our website and YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Twitter at MISD Assessment. We'll do our best to provide the most up-to-date information available regarding STAR testing. Best wishes to all of you in the new year. Thanks for watching.